I say I don't want to fight Mexican is because I represent Mexico.
I feel like Canelo's a fucking pussy.
Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looked for one shot now. You know, I mean, the end is there for Canelo.
The Mexican monster David Benavidez has never lost a fight, and he has made his goals clear.
The most feared fighter in boxing. Ever see Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime? I'm talking about the daddy. I'm talking about one of the greatest fighters ever. This guy is the closest thing I have seen to a big Julio Cesar Chavez. David, I'm not putting the Chavez thing on you. I'm just saying, you're the closest thing I've seen to a big dude who fights like that. Oh, Canelo's ducking him. This dude's a monster. And I looked and I thought, am I right or wrong about that?
No, you're definitely right. You know, you're looking at a man that's not going to let anything outside the ring, you know, mess with his game. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not scared of nothing. You know, I accept and I invite war. You know, so if that's what the people of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia want to see, well, let's give it to them. I think everybody is starting to see that I'm fearless, I'm relentless, and I'll fight anybody to get my respect in the ring.
He became more loud and hostile after seeing Canelo Alvarez lose to Terence Crawford. He asked for a fight and said Canelo was scared. Canelo Alvarez has been afraid of one name for years, and he has always avoided that threat.
On Canelo, and he was talking about how he didn't want to give David Benavidez the fight because he was being disrespectful.
When you look at the history of Canelo, all the fighters that was disrespectful, calling them out, and he fought all of them. But I just think from a Mexican standpoint, one being extra disrespectful towards the other, he took the sport out of it, and he just felt as if he wasn't going to give Benavidez the payday that he wanted.
Benavidez is finally ready to even the score and take back power. Following a terrible loss to Terence Crawford, that shade is hard to ignore. The fighting world was shaken up not long ago. The undisputed welterweight champion, Terence Crawford, went up to weight classes and beat Canelo Alvarez in a way that made him look like a normal person. It wasn't just a loss. It was a great show that took away some of the Mexican superstar's magic. Ronnie Shield and other expert trainers thought that Canelo might have passed his best years.
Did the Crawford by unanimous decision. He got that. You know, I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looked for one shot now. You know, I mean, the end is there for Canelo.
Oscar de la Hoya showed Canelo what he did wrong, but the fight was more than just a brawl. It was a turning point that marked the start of a long-awaited task. In a special chat with Inside the Ring, David Benavidez talked about Crawford's historic accomplishment. He told Crawford how great he was because he knew Crawford had done something that not many fighters had ever done. Benavidez said that Crawford should be on boxing's Mount Rushmore because he moved up 3 weight classes to become the undisputed lightweight king. His words, not only is he a great fighter, but you could tell in that fight how much of a dog he is, suggested that other fighters could learn from Crawford's heart.
First of all, I just want to give Terence Crawford a great congratulations. You know, he's reached a part in history that only so many fighters get to even accomplish in boxing. You know, he's one of the greatest of all time. There's nothing, you can't take that away from him. Terence Crawford should be on the Mount Rushmore in boxing because not only did he go up 3 weight classes, he beat one of the best fighters of this generation. I don't remember any time in history where anybody has come up from 147 pounds and won the super middleweight championship. Not only just won, but the undisputed. He's won every single title. So, you know, man, that man, not only is he a great fighter, but you could tell in that fight by seeing this combination right now how much of a dog he is. You know what I mean? I think a lot of fighters could take a lot of notes from Terence Crawford, not only physically, but as take notes in the heart aspect. And I give it all up to Terence Crawford. You know, he's one of the greatest of all time. And, you know, we salute Terence Crawford.
David Benavidez had been eagerly pursuing Canelo, a super middleweight ghost, for a long time before Crawford's devastating blow.
WBC belts right here. I'm the best in the division. If they want to give me an opportunity now or later, I'm gonna keep winning. You know, like I said, I'm gonna be the greatest of my generation by the time I'm done, and my job is not complete until I make that happen. For Canelo and everybody else, it just shows everybody I'm not f***ing around. I'm here to stay. I just look at the facts. You know, the people want to see this fight more than Carlos Adames and Charlo. You know, that's why that fight hasn't happened. But for me and Canelo, we have motion. You know what I mean? I've been winning the fights I'm supposed to win in fantastic fashion. He has nobody else to fight. You know what I mean? So if they want to give it to me now, later, whenever, I'm not going to.
Benavidez, a two-time WBC champion with a terrible professional record of 30 wins, 0 losses, and 25 knockouts, held the interim title for years and immediately challenged Canelo's unmatched dominance.
I don't really like to bash somebody because at the end of the day, I give respect to Canelo. He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's one of the best Mexican fighters of all time.
But wanting to fight him, David, is not bashing him.
Yeah.
That's not bashing him.
But that's what I'm saying. They spin the narrative on Instagram. If I say something, they say this or that. But I only want what I earned.
Right.
And I'm entitled to it. From what the WBC told me, they say you win the title limiter, we'll give you a title shot. You win the WBC interim title, we'll give you a title shot. I've been in this position for 3 years. So just because Canelo, he could do what he wants, as he says.
Right.
He's not going to fight the top competition. And he's holding all those belts hostage, bro. And it's not like, you got other great fighters too. You got me and David Morrell's there. Yeah. How is it fair that these sanctioning bodies let him pick and choose who he wants to fight? And then the Canelo fans too that be talking shit, bro. Like, do you guys not want to see the best fights?
Right.
Like, I don't understand. I'm just trying to make the best fights happen. And that's it. At the end of the day, I just want to give the fans what they want to see.
Yeah.
There were more than just whispers. It was made of stone. There are rumors that Canelo was offered an unbelievable $70 million to fight. Benavidez agreed to the plan and said that he would get a set amount of $5 million to make it happen.
Nobody, I've heard everybody that's been in front of me, and Canelo's no different. And I will hurt him too, and I'll take all his belts. It's crazy that he asked for $150 million or $200 million to fight me, but he still has the nerve to say that I don't bring nothing to the table. So if I didn't bring nothing to the table, why are you asking for more money than you won in your whole career if I don't mean anything? Maybe after he gets that money, he could buy himself a pair of balls.
What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a f what you guys want. He's not going to give you the best fights. He's going to fight the fights that he wants. In my opinion, that's a little bit disrespectful to the fans, but he has cult-like fans that, you know, they don't tell him shit and they're happy with whatever he does. But at the end of the day, if you hold all the titles, you got to fight the best in the division. I'm #1 in the division, #1 contender. The second one is David Morrell. He's not fighting me, nor he's not fighting David Morrell. So it makes no sense. How is he going to call himself the champion and have all these belts if he doesn't fight the #1 or the #2 guys? Why is he asking $200 million? Why, when they bring my name up with him, that's the most money he's gonna make. When he fought Amir Khan, he outweighed him at like 25 pounds. But, you know, I think it's just he's running out of excuses and running out of things to say, but that's just how it is. I guess that's when you're the cash cow, you can do whatever you want.
The phone stopped ringing, though as soon as Benavidez said yes. There was no answer, no talk, just a deafening quiet. There was more to this than just talk from a new rival. Benavidez got where he was by walking through fire. His two most impressive efforts in recent months proved his point. First, he viciously defeated and dominated Caleb Plant in a nasty grudge match. Then, he completely destroyed Demetrius, who had never lost before, and was very good, so much so that his camp called off the fight.
With both guys, Canelo and Benavidez, if they fought, which I don't think they're gonna fight no time soon, who you think will win?
Man, that's hard to say. I think both have pros and cons. You know, I feel like the things that Canelo does better than David. There's things that David does better than Canelo. In a way, I'm not comparing it to this fight, but it's like the better be of Bivol fight. You can say who you think is going to win. You can't say like, oh man, I'm surprised that Bivol won, or I'm surprised that Beterbiev won. You're like, man, that's a damn good fight. So-and-so won. So kind of how I feel about the David and Canelo fight, like who had the best camp, who has the best game plan, who slept the best the night before.
And it's not much that separates guys at that level.
If David can get on him with his combinations and not give him room to breathe, then, you know, that's probably a night that David gets his hand raised. You know, if Canelo is able to slow the pace down a little bit and catch him with a big shot, David's been dropped before from an off-balance shot. He wasn't really hurt, but, you know, would you be surprised if Canelo stopped him? You know, no. So it's hard to say.
He thought about his future. He said, "Since I was 3 years old, I've had one dream only, and that's becoming the greatest boxer of all time. And that's exactly what we're going to accomplish." He said that this goal is what makes him want to go after the biggest names.
You're looking at the one that's going to chase all of them. Like, these guys are monsters, but this is the monsters.
What came next would make things even more exciting.
I was 100% confident in himself. I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, you know, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him. So he never got off.
You think he's on steroids?
Of course. How does five?
You saw De La Hoya
How do five people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids?
Right.
You know what I mean? No, all those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
For David Benavidez, once this fight is done, is that a fight that you can see happening before the end of your career?
Look, I never say no to anything. We'll see later. But I'm focused 100% on this fight.
Possibility, or you just go one at a time and you also speak with your team?
Yeah, I go one at a time, but you know, every is a possibility. Always.
Right.
But I've been in this position my whole life. One was Austin Tron in 2012, 11. Then Mayweather, then Lara, then Cotto, then Callum Smith, then Golovkin, and then if I beat Benavidez, it's gonna be other guy there they want me to fight. So I've been in this position my whole life. But you know, is that time when that fight they ask, I give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But right now in this position I am, now is the time I need to ask. If the money is right.
Benavidez's anger is fueled by Canelo's silence, which leads to a series of violent outbursts. Canelo was asked how he dealt with being in the ring during the same conversation. It was clear what Benavidez meant. He said very clearly, "He's definitely scared of me." He asked what the reasoning was. If a fighter is saying trash in front of you, why not beat me up in the ring and make a lot of money? David emphasized his opinion by talking about how hard it is for Canelo to beat stronger opponents like Bibble. He told me that he can't stop seeing so many things in me. He sees more in me than just strength and speed. He sees a lot of heart. Is he not afraid? He asked. It doesn't scare me to fight another great fighter because I know it will make me better as a boxer and competitor. Benavidez, who is feeling better about himself and getting close to his best, thinks Canelo missed a great chance. He would have beat me back then if he had the chance. He can't beat me now.
Presence he's definitely scared of me. You know, if you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. You know, not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I want to prove myself to the world that I'm the greatest fighter. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter because I know that elevates me and who I am as a competitor.
It wasn't just talk. It made it clear what was meant. But this complicated boxing chess match had more to it than that. The problem has been going on for a long time and includes weight classes and the unwillingness of other great fighters. Benavidez just recently moved up to the light heavyweight level, which says a lot about how comfortable and driven he is there. During the interview, Benavidez was asked straight if he could still make 168 pounds. He flatly said no. Man, you should really let Terence Crawford live. That's how he is. 168 hasn't interested me in a long time. He made it clear what his current goal is. I feel better when I'm 175. I'd like better beef. I want to find Bibles. I'm really after the bigger ones. The cruiserweight said. I'm going after Sub Ramirez.
At the end of the day, he should have took the fight with me way back then because if he had a chance to beat me, it would have been back then. He has no chance of beating me now, especially now. I'm getting all this confidence. I'm stepping into my prime. You know, I'm able to deal with these bigger shows better. You know what I mean? I'm able to thrive in these shows. I'm able to, every time I fight, I'm always winning by a significant amount. You know what I mean? So I'm learning my craft better and better each and every single fight. I'm gaining more confidence every single fight. And like I said, I really want to go in there and hurt people. I'm not a boxer. I'm a warrior, and I go in there.
This move turned the Canelo story on its head by implying that Benavidez might be too big for the class where Canelo holds all the belts. Also, after Crawford's historic win, his trainer, Brown B.C. McIntyre, quickly ruled out the possibility of a future fight with Benavidez, saying, "We're not interested in that," in a strange way. This made Canelo less able to avoid the fight that everyone wants to see.
The new guy steps up that says, I'm the new guy to carry that torch forward.
Kind of like how when you beat Tyrone Woodley, because you were the guy coming up and Tyrone Woodley was a dominant champion for a long time and you went and you beat the shit out of him. It's the same thing. I'm preparing very hard for this fight whenever it does happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I stay training, I stay evolving as a fighter. Not only do I want to prove to the fans, but I want to prove to myself that I'm the best in the world. So if the fight comes, good. If it doesn't, it's not the end of my career. And if he doesn't want to give me the opportunity at 168, that's why I'm going up to 175 right now. Because I'm not going to wait for nobody either. This fight's going to put me at the #1 contender to fight for the WBC title. And those are going to get unified at 175. So, like I said, dreams always come true. It doesn't matter if somebody else is trying to stop you. You're going to find your own way and you're going to make your dreams.
To be honest with you, man, let Terrence Crawford live. That's his weight class.
Okay.
I lost interest in 168 a long time ago. I know that we could get offered a lot of money to go down to 168, but I'm more comfortable at 175. I'm chasing better beef. I'm chasing Bivol. I'm chasing these other bigger. I'm chasing Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. You know what I mean? So I've been at 168, but I have no interest in going.
But it looked like Canelo had other choices. Canelo is at a very important point in his amazing career right now. Since Crawford's loss is still fresh in his mind, a repeat has been officially ruled out. This frees up his schedule. There is a lot of talk about what he will do next, since he still has 2 fights left on his deal. A lot of people think that Benavidez is the smart choice because he is a new, dangerous opponent who has earned his shot.
Important to me to watch Canelo get beat like a rag doll all over the ring. It's not that important to me, bro. And that's what's going to happen if you fight David Benavidez. So the only reason that we really interest you is that you have to see that. I don't care to see Canelo get beat up like that. It doesn't really...
I'm not saying he gets beat up, but
I think he gets hammered.
Okay, but regardless. So if David Benavidez wins the fight, that's my point. I think David's going to be the next star. And Canelo has to do what great Mexican legends do. They fight the next guy. They all do that. I want that. I think that's important for the legacy of the sport, for the legacy of the Mexican.
That's the problem. Why do we have to care more than Canelo, though?
But Canelo, what Canelo does care about? The green. The green, obviously. 150, 200 million, he cares.
In life,
there's
everything
200
is
million,
about that now.
There's 200 million thoughts about caring for that fight now. So, okay, listen, we make that fight. However we make that fight happen, I think it's important for that fight to happen. I really do. I think David Benavidez has that star quality to be the next face of boxing. And beating Canelo, I think, really matters.
But Canelo could always choose a fight that isn't as tough to protect his record and keep his perfect record against weaker opponents. The boxing world is looking to see if Canelo will take the challenge or keep pulling the easy card.
Fighting, but you avoiding the monster. You understand me? That's going to tank the rest of his career if he keep trying to fight. Well, it's tough to say because he's made enough money that he can retire. He really has nothing else to prove. We saw him go up. He did but he tested himself all the way up as far as he could go. He won the light heavyweight title, then he lost to B-Ball. So that shows that the light heavyweight was his ceiling. And that's good enough. Really, right now, he got nothing else to prove. Of course, if you keep fighting, people going to demand you fight the monster because both you guys are Mexican. But to me, you probably shouldn't do that. You understand me? It's probably not a good fight for you at this point, for real, especially coming off a loss to Terrence Crawford. It's just, to me, I don't see the hunger there to really beat the monster. You understand me? And that's what my problem was already. I didn't think it was a good fight for him because I don't think the hunger is there. Terrence Crawford just showed us that the hunger is really not there anymore like that. You understand me? So you have to be extraordinarily hungry to go out there and beat the monster because you got to put pressure on him from round 1 to round 12 or it's not going to work. And if you're not hungry, you're not going to do that. Same thing he would have had to do to Terrence Crawford. You had to put pressure on him from round 1 to round, I'm talking about solid pressure, no space between them. He had to be in his chest for 12 rounds, but he ain't hungry enough to really do that. So if you're not hungry enough to do that, don't go waste your time. Just call it a day because everybody gonna want to see you fight the monster. I don't know if they're gonna be cool with you fight anybody else, but they're gonna keep pushing the monster narrative at you. You feel me? Now, if he wants to have a few more fights for himself, that's cool. But then it's gonna get very tainted with the fact they're gonna say, yeah, you fighting, but you avoiding the monster. You understand me? That's gonna tank the rest of his career if he keep trying to fight. So it's better for him to just call it.
This high-risk choice is being affected by a strong new player, though. Turki Alshik, who is the powerful head of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority and has a lot of money, is quickly changing the world of boxing. Alalik is very strong, and he hasn't been afraid to talk about big fights. He even suggested that Terrence Crawford and David Benavidez fight in a super middleweight match, which was shocking. An interesting prospect who could completely get around Canelo. The fact that Saudi Arabia wants big games adds another layer of complexity, since the financial motives have grown a lot. That's the end of today's movie. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell button if you like the video so you don't miss any more. Don't forget to leave a message with your thoughts. Watch out for more, and see you in the next.